It's time for Homegrown Country with Dylan on your country 95.5 WTVY.
First, I just want to say thank you for tuning in to watch another episode of Homegrown Country. And thank you to those people who have reached out and told me that you have watched every episode thus far. That really does mean a lot. And I'm sure you've been able to see how we're changing things. It seems like every episode, something's different. We're trying to improve the quality of the video, the audio. It seems like every week we've added something new or trying to change something or make it just a little bit better. That being said, we had a little hiccup with the video with today's podcast. It's a little bit laggy. It's just not perfect like I like for it to be. I tried my best to repair it. It didn't happen. It is what it is. And in my experience, we've went back and re-recorded a couple of these podcasts that have gotten corrupted, and it just seems that the conversation is not the same the second time. So I had a really good conversation with Gage here today. Really got to know him, had a lot of fun. And so I'm just going to suggest that maybe for this Homegrown Country, you treat it like a traditional podcast. Close your eyes and just listen and enjoy the conversation and get to know Gage Cowart with me today. Thank you again for joining me for Homegrown Country. And without further ado, here's the man himself. Here we are, Homegrown Country, another episode of my favorite show.
Heck yeah, man. I'm a big fan too. I've been watching.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we got Gage Cowart in the studio today. How you doing, bud?
Good, man.
Doing good. Doing good. That's cool. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Let's get to know you. Where are you from?
Man, I'm from South Alabama, just north of here in a little itty bitty town called Victoria.
Okay.
I went to elementary school out there and then moved to Dothan for high school.
Right on.
Spent some time here, and then when I graduated, moved down to Panama City with my parents and have been there ever since.
Very cool.
So
when did you get into music? How'd that happen?
Man, just about maybe 3 years ago, two and a half, maybe 3 years ago. I had a regular job and everything, never had even thought about doing music. And I'd met Riley Anderson before, seen him playing some gigs, and I was like, dang, that's so cool how you can play that thing. Like, I always loved music and never really thought about giving it a shot. So went out and bought a cheap guitar and started learning. And then next thing I know, it changed my whole life.
That's cool, man. So, how you got into music? What was your if there's one pivotal moment that changed the course of I can actually do this as a full-time job? What was that moment?
So I started learning the basic chords and stuff.
Right.
And then eventually started learning some of my favorite songs to cover and stuff like that. Started posting a couple of videos on TikTok. That was really out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, I barely knew what I was doing. And somebody asked me if I could play a show. And I was like, how long? And they're like, an hour. And to me, then that was 10 years.
No.
How in the world am I going to do that?
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I can do it. And because I had 3 months to prepare, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. Let's just see what happens.
Right.
I was hooked. Right after I played that first show, I was hooked.
Something about having that crowd in the palm of your hand and just being able to, it's a cool feeling.
Just the feeling of once it was over, just being successful.
Right.
It. It was a drive.
They didn't throw anything at me.
I made it,
Right. We survived.
Yeah.
That's cool. So how long you been writing your own music?
So I started writing pretty soon after I learned how to play. Had never really been much of a writer. It just kind of, I knew that I liked songwriters and that I liked original music, and I was like, well, this would be a good outlet. It'd probably be pretty therapeutic if I start putting my thoughts on paper.
That's true, yeah.
And then it just happened to click.
That's cool, man. What was the first song that you ever wrote?
First song was "Raising You."
Really? Yeah.
Yep. And that's about being a dad and learning about yourself as you're raising.
Right.
Two youngins to be the best that they can be. So.
Yeah, that's a heavy hitter song right there for sure. One that it's a cool feeling when you write a song and you put it out there and you see a bunch of other people relate to it.
Yeah.
But also they can relate to the same song, but in a different way than you relate to it too.
Yeah.
Was talking about that with somebody the other day. I think that's the feeling that I get when somebody tells me, "Oh man, your song made me think about my old family member," or this or that. It's just really cool how music connects with people sometimes.
Yeah, it is. I have a song called Trot Lines, and I don't really play it as much as I should. It's about my grandpa, and
Mhm.
it's a very personal song for me, but it shocks me how many people come up and they're like, "I used to check trot lines with my grandpa."
Right.
And it's just like, "Wow, I didn't even think about that,"
Yeah.
right? And I wrote it for me,
Yeah.
but so many other people can connect.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, I put out a song called "Spot in Mississippi," which was I wrote it based solely off of just, I like the story of Robert Johnson, the blues player that sold his soul to the devil, you know? I
Yeah.
don't know if you've seen "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," but
Oh, yeah.
Tommy
Yeah,
is
Tommy,
yeah,
yeah.
uh, but,
That's,
I
like, one of
literally
my
just
favorite movies.
yeah, my wife's too, she can quote that movie from start to finish. But I wrote it just off of that, and it's crazy the amount like, it was just for fun for me,
Mhm.
and it's crazy the amount of people that are like, "Oh, I love that song so much. That song hits me on a deep level," and I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah. You're like, "Dang,
Yeah.
that's crazy." Yeah.
It's funny, man. Oh, that's cool. So tell us a little bit about your musical journey. What's some fun stories or some crazy things that's happened that stick out to you and since you've been playing music?
Man, it's been a wild ride ever since it started.
Yeah.
I I'm one of those people like, I try to pour everything into everything I do,
Mhm.
and work as hard as I can no matter what I'm doing. But I really feel like God has kind of just paved the way for a lot of things and just put me right in the right place at the right time. Um, there's been so many cool things that have happened and I'm thankful for. We got to play Gulf Coast Jam last year. That was
That's cool.
pretty awesome.
Yeah. That's a bucket list for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just recently opened up for one of my favorite bands, the Steel Drivers.
I
Another
saw that.
another thing I never would have thought,
That's cool, dude.
But, the Gulf Coast Jam thing is actually pretty funny because I entered the competition
Right.
for the Jim Beam welcome sessions.
Yeah, they had that at, American Charlie, right? Or where was
Miss
it?
Newbies.
Miss Newbies. Okay,
Yeah.
that's right.
So, before that, I had had maybe 1 band show,
Yeah.
and it was kinda like a little 30-minute set. So, I had this band. And I don't wanna undercut how talented everybody in the band was, they're all amazing people, but we were held together with tape and glue.
Right.
We had maybe had 2 rehearsals
Yeah.
before the competition, and we knew that we were really good with, like, the 2 songs we had to play,
Yeah.
and so we walked in, and I remember that night, they said, "Hey, if you make 6th place, you're gonna have to play after the competition for a couple hours." So I remember making a set list, thinking that we were gonna get
Right.
6th place or lower,
Yeah.
and then for some odd reason, they gave us 1st place that night,
Dang, dude.
and then I immediately, I'm excited, and then I turn back to everyone, I'm like, "Oh, we gotta rehearse
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Then the nerves
big
hit.
time." So,
What was it like looking out to that crowd at Gulf Coast Jam?
oh, man, it was like a fever dream.
Yeah, I bet.
The cool thing that like I said, I think God kinda helped me out is it was so hot,
Oh, yeah.
and it was so hot that it kinda distracted me from the amount of people out
Right,
there.
yeah.
I think they said there was, like, 20,000 people when we were playing,
That's
which I was like,
crazy.
I didn't even
I can't even count that
realize. Yeah.
high.
So, but I just remember thinking the whole performance, I think we only played, like, 30 minutes, but the whole time I was thinking, "My God, it's hot out here." Like,
Yeah.
I'm dying, right? I was
Don't
wearing a
pass out. Don't pass out.
yeah, that's all I could think about is if I fall off the stage, I'm never
Yeah.
gonna live this down,
You think you'd be awed by the crowd, but really you're just looking out there like, "Can somebody hand me a
I'm
water?"
like, "Man, water looks good. Pass that up here."
Somebody squirt me with a squirt gun.
Something.
Oh, that's funny, dude. That's cool. So, well, you've had a lot of cool opportunities that I've seen you post about. And what is another bucket list item that you have?
Oh, man, I mean,
We've
j
all got them.
really, I mean, my short-term goal is just to try to open for all my favorite artists. I feel like that's the mindset I'm in now.
Right,
Once I got the first couple under my belt, I was like, "Alright, I'm gonna try to open up for
right,
this
yeah,
guy next," you know? But, I mean, I have a venue bucket list for sure, just
yeah,
like anybody else. I'd love to play Red Rocks one day. I mean, come on,
yeah. That's mine.
that's the
That's top on
coolest
my list.
place in the world. Um, yeah, man, I mean, honestly, I'm kinda torn between, like, I have all these different places I'd wanna play and things I'd wanna do, but I'm so happy with where I'm at right now
Right.
that, like, I've kinda made a pact with the big man, like, "Hey, if this is as far as it goes, I'm totally cool with
Yeah.
it."
If you'll just float me along, we'll keep
Yep,
doing what we're doing.
just keep the bills paid.
Yep. I heard
So,
that. I was talking to somebody a while back about the American dream and like what all that consists of. And I was like, I'll tell you what my American dream is. It's just to live comfortably
Yep.
just to be able to pay my bills and afford my food.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
don't care about nothing else.
That's right.
Just get me by, Lord.
I got a song about that.
Yeah.
It's called North of Getting By.
That's right.
Just want to be just north.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit
I
better.
like that one.
Yeah.
We'll have to play that one soon on the radio for
Heck
sure.
yeah.
Oh, cool deal. So tell me about your songwriting process. When you start to write a song, does it start with lyrics? Does it start with a melody? What does that look like for you?
So it really just kind of depends. I wish that I could say that I was like as talented as somebody like Riley Anderson per se or
He's a
Chase
good
Baker.
songwriter. Yeah.
They're two of my best friends, and I know that they can sit down and just write.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can do that, but if I'm being honest, most of my songs have came to me like a shot from a gun.
Right.
Like just
Yeah.
3 in the morning,
Me too.
or I'm driving down the road at 3 in the afternoon, and it'll just pop in my head, and I'll have to pull over and write it down as fast as I can
Yeah.
before it goes to the next part of my brain and
Right.
disappears.
Yeah. It's like
So
you get that one inkling of an idea, and then you're just filled with emotion, and then it's easy to just pour all that out onto paper.
Yep, for
and
sure.
then it's gone.
Yeah, and then it's gone. Yeah, there's been so many that I swear would have been like hits, and they've just disappeared
Yeah.
before I could get them down on
Yep.
paper.
I posted a little thing on TikTok. For a while I was just posting like thoughts of an independent artist, and one of them was keep a notepad and a pen in your nightstand.
Yeah.
Because there's so many songs that I have. Well, it's weird how like your brain is like most active in that like REM state.
Yep.
Almost,
100%.
And so like I've had a ton of good ideas laying in bed, like fixing to fall asleep or almost about to wake up,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm like, oh, I'll remember that.
I'll remember that. Yeah.
I'll remember that.
And you're lying to yourself.
You're like, that's such a hook, man. I'll remember
Yeah.
that. I won't forget that. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like,
Oh, it's gone. Yeah.
dang it. So always write that stuff down.
Yep.
It's crazy how fleeting these great ideas can be sometimes.
Sometimes I'll write some stuff down, and it'll be in my head in the moment. I'm like, oh, this is good. This is good. But I won't record it.
Yeah.
And then I'll forget the way I sang it.
Forget the melody.
And then I'm like,
yeah.
that doesn't even make any sense. Looking at it later.
There's no rhythm to this at all.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah, man. That does suck. Oh, so all right. So tell me about your first studio experience. You've got a lot of music out on the platforms. Tell
Yeah,
me about,
so I was doing my little thing, gigging around and stuff, was posting some stuff on Instagram, and all of a sudden I get a message one day from this studio, Off the Row Studios in Franklin, Tennessee. And to me that was like just getting a message at that point was like, I got a record deal.
right? Yeah, here it is. Thank you, guys.
I'm like calling my mom, like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And but no, so they reached out. They're like, hey, we like your stuff a lot. We'd see if you'd be interested in coming out and recording. I was like, sure. So we talked on the phone for a little while and kind of worked some deals out on pricing. And then next thing I know, I was driving up Tennessee for the first time and recording some songs up there with them.
Heck yeah.
So it was cool.
That's awesome.
I got to stay in a little loft above the studio, which I thought was really cool.
Neat. Yeah. So it was like a whole experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get there and, I've got a handful of songs with little cowboy chords
Right.
and I'm like this brand new, have no idea what I'm walking into.
Yeah.
And they hand me this sheet and it's got all these numbers on it. And they're like, all right, this is raising you. And it's just like 1, 2, 5, 7. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, where's my GCDC at?
Yeah, he's like, don't worry about it. These guys, they know what they're doing. And sure enough, they bring in all these musicians for, a full band tracking session.
Right.
And they just go, all right, we're good to go. And they just boom, right into it.
What?
And they're like, all right, cut vocals.
Wow.
Like, oh my gosh. So it was so cool to watch, like literally watch the songs come to life right before me.
When you get that first mix
Mhm.
in your phone and you're like, oh my
You're
gosh,
like,
this is better than I ever imagined.
I kept saying these are living room couch songs.
Yeah.
And now like it's crazy.
That's cool, man.
Never would have thought.
Right? Dreams coming true.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you see music taking you from here? I know we kind of talked like as long as God just floats us along.
Yeah.
But where you gonna do it forever?
Yeah,
What's
for
the
sure.
outlook on it?
Yeah, as long as I'm physically able, I think.
Yeah.
Or as long as
Why wouldn't you, right?
I'll even say as long as he wants me to do it, because I thought for a long time, the last career I was in, which was law enforcement, I thought that was my passion, you know,
wow.
and it was at the
Yeah.
time until God kind of reached down and was like, "Hey, gonna do this for a little while now,"
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So I'm cool whatever he wants to do. And then I think that I'll be playing music for,
Yeah.
you know, till I'm old and gray.
Right.
But yeah, I really feel like I feel like we got some big stuff coming, and I feel like I don't know. I'm excited.
That's
I don't know
cool,
what's
man.
coming, but I feel good about it.
You're gonna keep your head down, full steam ahead,
That's
huh?
right.
I heard that,
That's the
man.
only
That's
way.
awesome. Heck yeah, dude. Um, being an independent artist, uh, you have to wear a lot of hats. You're a manager, social media, you know, you gotta write the songs, book the gigs,
Yeah,
learn
man.
how to run the equipment. How
Yeah.
how has that been a learning curve? How has that been? Like being your one man band kind of guy,
Yeah.
one man manager.
So number one, I do have a lot of hats, literally. So many that they're scattered around my room, and I can't decide which one I want to wear half the time. But metaphorically speaking, yes, I also wear a lot of
Yeah.
hats. I'm 100% independent, and most of the time I tell that to people, and they're like, "Oh, okay, you know, you just not attached to a label." And I'm like, "No, I literally do everything.
Right.
I do all my own booking, with the exception of having a couple booking agents that help
Right.
with some local shows and stuff like that. But I do all my own graphics design for my posters and
Which you do
stuff.
a great job of, by the
Thanks,
way.
man.
Yeah,
I
great
really
quality
enjoy
content.
that. I
Yeah,
love making those.
that's awesome.
And then I do all my own videos, video editing. I will give credit where credit's due. My girlfriend takes some amazing videos with her phone that I can
Nice.
spruce up. But I do all my own editing. I have some photographers that help me out. They take some great pictures.
Right.
But I edit most of my photos, and yeah, I mean, I really kind of do everything from writing the songs to going and getting them produced to
Mhm.
booking the shows and um posting the schedule. It's a full-time job,
It
you know.
absolutely is a full-time job, dude.
I feel like I have all the free time in the world and none at all. It's
Yes.
like,
Yes, and it's so hard, I feel like, to translate that to other people's, like, to get them to understand, you know,
yeah,
and they're like, "Yeah, you just you don't play, you don't do anything tonight till 7."
yeah,
Like, you know, and
exactly.
I'm like, "But bro, I got."
Yeah, I gotta put some on YouTube, and then I
Yeah.
gotta like, yeah, then you gotta email 15 different places that you want to play and
Right.
schedule a tour. Golly,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
a you want to talk about a pain
Yeah.
is trying to coordinate like an actual tour, even a small tour.
Right. Like, let's
Trying
say you
to,
wanna go out for 2 weeks, but you wanna have, like, consistent
yep,
shows all the way around the map.
I can't hit the curve, dude. I keep doing the W. I swear I want to just do like a curve and go up and then come
Right.
down, but it's always like boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, and
North, south, back north,
I'm
back
like
south. Yeah.
killing myself on gas, you know?
Yep. Yep.
But I
Um,
like touring and, you know, playing different cities and stuff, so
right. So, yeah, you do, so you play shows, like, outside of the Wiregrass area a lot too? Like,
yeah.
you go to, like, Oklahoma and stuff sometimes, or
Yeah, and, where's the camera at? Surprise, I'll be back in Oklahoma at the end of this month. I haven't even announced it yet, so,
Nice. Cool,
yeah.
cool.
But yeah, I don't know, I feel like, most of the people that I like a lot, um, especially artists that are starting to come up now,
Mhm.
I went back like a year before they blew up or started to blow up and just watched what they did, and that's what they did. They toured.
Yeah.
Even if it was touring bar gigs, they just went to different cities and developed fan base in different areas, and I was like, "That's what I'm gonna do."
Yeah. That's a good
So,
idea, man. That's I like that's one thing that I am trying to figure out now. I'm booking the band. Last year we tried to play as much as we possibly could. This year we're trying to be a little more conservative to make our shows I guess like mean more, you
yeah.
know. So it's not that just somebody's like, "Oh, well, Dylan's playing here. Well, we can just go see him here next week." You
Yeah,
know.
it's a double-edged sword.
It
I feel
really
like
is.
the more you play, the more chance you have of, like, gaining followers and fans, but also the more you play, it becomes
The
easy
less of
f
a crowd comes out.
exactly,
Yeah.
because then, you know, when you're running ticketed shows, then it can be well, why would I pay 20 bucks to go see him open up for so and so when I
Right.
could go to the bar and watch him play 3 hours
Buy
for free?
$20 worth of beer for myself
Yeah, exactly.
and get it for free.
But for the most part, your true fans, I mean, they're gonna realize that the ticketed shows are like,
It's support.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, those are the true VIPs right there, MVPs.
Yeah, man, they was so cool. We opened up for Priscilla Block at the Moon in
Yeah.
Tallahassee recently, which was one of the first big shows that we had since Gulf Coast Jam.
Mhm.
So we brought the band out and everything, and it went great. And again, I had been working on developing a following in Tallahassee for a while, but it was amazing to see how many people came just for us
Right.
and came up after the show. And I mean, it was super cool.
That
you
is
know?
cool, dude. Heck yeah, man. Very neat. So, all right, so I got some random questions I'm gonna fire at you.
All right.
So, what is your go-to coffee order?
Oh man. So you guys are gonna judge me here. I like super sweet coffee.
All right.
I blame it on my Mimi because she made my coffee when I was a kid, and she always said that I liked a little coffee with my cream. So
Right.
if it's hot coffee, I'm usually getting about halfway full of coffee and a lot of cream, a lot of sugar. And then if it's cold coffee, I like I see you're a Starbucks man, so I like sweet cream cold brews.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, those are good.
That's my stuff right
When
there.
it's pumpkin spice season, you can catch me in my UGG boots and my white girl
Yeah?
outfit because I'm a pumpkin spice fan.
Hell yeah.
I like the sweet coffee too, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so cats or dogs?
Oh, man. So I had a cat growing up, and I love cats. Cats are great, but
Yeah.
I'm a dog guy. I definitely love
All
dogs.
right. I'll let it slide.
Yeah.
I had a cat growing up too, but I'm definitely a dog person for
Dogs
sure.
are just cool, man.
Yeah.
They just love you.
The loyalty there. Cats are very like independent
Yeah.
and they just kind of do their own thing and they just kind of come, or at least in my experience, they're just like, all right, you got my food out? All right,
Yeah.
we're good
Like, all
then.
right, cool. See you later.
If you got my food out, I won't knock your stuff off the counter.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then what about aliens? Do you believe in aliens?
Oh, man. I'm so happy you asked about this.
Yeah.
So
All right, here we go. 20 more minutes of the
dude, my
podcast. Y'all
girlfriend's
see
rolling
this?
her eyes so hard right now. I can just feel it. So I love anything conspiracy theory. But I'm also a very like faith-based man too. Like
Mhm.
I 100% confident in what I believe
I
and
feel that.
confident in my relationship with Jesus. But I'm very interested in the idea of, aliens or extraterrestrials. I think that I don't know, there's obviously something, you
Right.
know. I think the only thing that's up for debate is the origin, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Um I tend to lean, this is just personal. I tend to lean towards that the things that people are seeing and the things that are out there are less like ET alien and more like spiritual, like
Okay.
beings,
Yeah.
because back in the day, I mean, you can look at the Old Testament, demons could present themselves in physical bodies, no
Right.
problem. So obviously spiritual beings can be present in,
Yeah.
in a body form. So
Right.
I think that's where I kind of lean towards, but
I like that. I like that theory because I grew up in the church. Actually, where I cut my teeth in music is leading worship
oh
in the
yeah.
church. So that's where I kind of first got started in that. And so I'm a very religious guy too, but also like we can't be the only ones, man.
No,
Like
man.
there's no way.
No. And
Uh
there's just so much and I feel like, again, we don't know, we're probably not gonna know until we get up there and
yeah.
then we might know, but still, I mean, there's so much that we don't know. Like
Yeah.
the whole thing that happened in Egypt recently,
What was
blowing my
that?
mind. Did you see that?
No.
So, don't quote me here. I'm not a,
Right.
architect or anything, but I believe it was like this team of scientists went in and they had these devices that shot stuff into the ground like a radar basically,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
sonar.
Yeah.
So think of it like a big fish finder.
Like checks the density of what's underground,
Yeah.
right?
And so they did it underneath the pyramids.
Okay, I didn't look into this, but I have recently seen the headline.
Dude, yeah, you gotta check that out. It's crazy.
Is it like I think I saw some like AI images. Is it like almost like conductors that
Yeah,
like
they
kind of
found
go
like
down into the ground?
columns underneath the pyramid. And
Yeah.
it was very the details of the pyramid are already kind of like I don't know about that.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
like each brick weighs like several
Yeah. And
tons.
how did they move that?
Exactly. Well, now it's even harder to believe because they got these big, I think there's like 8 cylinders that go down, I think it was like 2 kilometers,
What?
and then it connects to this large basin at the bottom, and now they believe that that is even connected to the other pyramids, but it's
What?
miles below the Earth's surface.
How the?
So it's like,
Bruh.
like I'm already kind of like on the fence about the human beings building the pyramid,
Yeah.
but now all the stuff below, like we didn't have that stuff back then.
Yeah, no way. And the pyramid's like aligned with the stars and stuff too, which is wild.
I'm telling you, dude. Like
That's crazy.
there's a part of me where like I'm tired of living in the current history section of future history books, but
right.
at the same time, like you can't deny that it's entertaining. There
Yeah,
is
man.
one thing after another
That is
coming out.
wild. That makes me think of I've watched a lot of documentaries on Nikola Tesla. And so the pyramid thing makes me think of like his Tesla coil style. Like he had this big idea to build this huge tower and it would conduct electricity like through the ground.
Yeah.
So pretty much you'd be able to take your lamp and just plug it into the dirt and it would come on.
That's
That makes me
crazy.
wonder if that's like some kind of crazy ancient power source.
There ain't no telling,
That's
dude.
where they were charging the ships. I'm telling you,
There ain't no telling, man. I could talk for hours in here on conspiracy theories.
I love this stuff.
Like everything from the Loch Ness monster to aliens to Bermuda Triangle, I eat it up. That's like my comfort.
I love that stuff too, dude.
Some people watch, the Andy Griffith Show, and some people watch SpongeBob. I watch those too, but I like the creepy documentaries.
Me too, dude.
That's my stuff.
There's I'm gonna shout out another podcast on our podcast. One of my favorites is the girl, actually, her name's Kendall Ray. She does a true crime podcast, but her and her husband together have a podcast about conspiracies that's called A Mile Higher. And would highly recommend that. Mile Higher podcast. And it's just like a panel of people our age just sitting around talking about relevant stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. But yeah, so the one thing that gets me about like why, like how this with aliens have to be real is there's too much official documentation.
Oh yeah.
Like the Tic Tacs and the fighter jets, that one story just gets me so.
And that's scratching the surface. You know what I mean? Like that's what's publicly available.
Yeah.
Because like, and I've not even saying that I know this because I worked in law enforcement, but just having a general knowledge of the way the world works. I mean, we're probably getting 10%,
right,
maybe, of what's actually happening. But even the recently released stuff about the I can't remember what it was called, where they like astral project places, or they were using like
they use like a psychic
to like go to places in their mind, and that apparently they found Saddam Hussein that way or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm like, what are we living in right now?
For real, dude. It is so wild. When me and my wife got married, our honeymoon, we flew out to California and we road tripped from Lake Tahoe to Vegas, but we did the extraterrestrial highway.
Oh, dude.
Past Area 51 and through the Nevada desert and all that.
That's cool.
It was so cool to be able to just drive through there and know that like right over that mountain right there, like
right there,
probably a spaceship underground somewhere.
Yeah, something, man.
And then we drove past the Tonopah test range where they did all the nuclear bomb stuff. And when we got to Vegas, they were playing Oppenheimer had just released. And so we went and watched Oppenheimer like after we just drove past like where they did all that, which was really cool.
Have you ever seen one? A UFO?
No, I've never had like any kind of crazy experience like that. So one time I walked out of Walmart. And,
it's a hot spot.
Right? It is. Yeah, Walmart is a hot spot. That's for sure. So I walked out of Walmart and looked up, and there was a street lamp without the lights weren't out on it, but all I could see was like the faint white circle of the three globes, and I was like, ah! But then I realized it was connected to a pole. It was also connected to the parking lot. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that would probably be the closest thing I've ever. My mom has had a crazy experience like that. Yeah, like actual like says she saw it floating with a light under it kind of thing, and then it. But like I trust my mom.
Yeah, for sure. Like, why would you lie about that?
And it's not something she's like blurting out to everybody, like, oh, look at me, I saw a UFO. So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, what about you?
I've seen one.
Yeah.
And it was it's not a very like cool, elaborate story or anything, but and God, I can't, people watching this are probably gonna bust out laughing when I tell the story. But I was working security at Gulf Coast Jam 2 or 3 years ago. And we were all backstage. I can't remember who was playing. Somebody was playing. And we're just kind of hanging out. And I looked up in the sky because I'll be looking in the sky a lot.
Right.
Just in case.
Yeah.
And
if you're not looking, you'll never see one.
I see something, long, cylindrical, and dark moving. It looked like I don't know, like a cigar, I
Yeah.
guess is the best way to describe it, and
Okay.
it was just moving slowly through the air, and I noticed that it didn't have any lights on it, and I'm thinking, like, as a security standpoint, like, "This ain't good,
Yeah.
something's up with that." So I'm, like, grabbing my partner, making him look, "You see that?" "Yeah." "What is that?" "I don't know." So then I go find my buddy Aaron, he was in the Air Force, or still is, and he's knowledgeable of aircraft, so I grabbed
Right.
him and I said, "What is that?" And he looks and he goes, "I don't know." I was like, "Well, that's not good
Well,
if
that's
you don't
3 of
know."
us
Yeah.
that don't know.
And then so I just collected people. I was like, "Look at that. You see that? What is that?" "I don't know." So I had like 10 people
That's
looking at
crazy.
this thing, and it was just kinda slowly moving through the sky, and then it just poof, gone.
What?
Like, it just disappeared in an instant.
That's wild,
And
dude.
I've racked my brain trying to figure out, like, what could it have been? Like, it's not a weather balloon. It's not, if it was any kind of aircraft, it would have had to have had some sort of lights,
Right.
per FAA, but I don't know. And then
That's so
I
wild.
hear a lot of stories about, cigar-shaped
Yeah.
UFOs with,
Yeah.
little to no lights or no lights at all.
Yep.
So,
That was one of them, and
I
you
believe
saw
it.
it.
Yep.
That's
At
crazy,
Gulf
dude.
Coast Jam, I guess he was trying to catch a little part of Morgan
I
Wallen's
was gonna say
set or
everybody loves
something.
Morgan
Yeah.
Wallen, even the extraterrestrials. So
Yeah,
he's
something
got
like that.
fans in other universes.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you put 37 songs on an album.
Telling you, dude.
Yeah, he's got
Crazy.
one coming out that I'm excited about.
Yeah,
Like
man.
50 or 40 something days now, I think.
Yeah,
I've been
well,
watching the countdown clock.
just the 2 that has come out, like, that he's been teasing off of it, I
Yeah.
mean, those are amazing.
Yeah, my favorite. I love the I'm a Little Crazy song.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good one.
that I've already learned how to play it, I can't stop.
Yep.
I every
Me
every
too.
time I play a show, I'm like, "Alright, here's that song again."
Yep.
You know?
Exactly.
It's
Yeah, I
one of my
love that one.
favorites.
Well, heck yeah, dude. Well, thank you for joining me for an episode of Homegrown Country. Glad we got to get you in here and get to know
Yeah,
you a
man.
little better. And we're gonna have you back up here soon for sure.
Sounds good to me.
All
I
right, buddy.
appreciate you having me, man.
Appreciate it, man.